All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good evening, Milpitas. I am Min No, your 2024 Board President. Welcome to this meeting of the Milpitas Unified School District Board of Education. We appreciate your attendance and participation in our education proceedings, which align with the Ralph M. Brown Act for open meetings. Tune in to our hybrid-style meetings online on either Zoom or YouTube or in person inside our boardroom. To review, public comments can be made while you are logged onto Zoom or you are in person. YouTube, however, is a listen-only option. If you are unable to do either of these, please visit our written public comments webpage for instructions on how to submit your written comment.
This meeting is being recorded.
1 2-minute public comment per person is allowable for each item. Item 7, closed session announcement. Trustee Zhang.
Thank you, President No. In closed session, the Board of Trustees unanimously approved the superintendent's action to employ Trang Vo as a classified manager, director of business services. That's all in closed session.
Thank you, Trustee Zhang. Item 8, review and approve the open session agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, closed session agenda is approved. Item 9, flag salute.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Cadet Chief Petty Officer Mendoza, and I am here on the behalf of the Milpitas High School NJROTC program. Accompanying me this evening is our color guard team. Commanding today is Cadet Petty Officer Verdi. Alongside him are his riflemen, Cadet Senior Chief Paliwal and Cadet Petty Officer Garcia. And as for our Navy flag, we have Cadet Master Chief Ferranda. Additionally, from the program, we have Cadets Finuliar, Lynn A, Mendoza J, Nguyen B, Santiago, Tanzarella, Tran J, Koshi, and Cadet Prieto. At this moment, I would like Color Guard to parade the colors. Color Guard, parade the colors.
March. Up, turn, march. Over, march. Up, turn, march. Color, hold, freeze, and colors.
At this moment, I would like everyone to please rise and remove all hats and hoods. Everyone place your right hands over heart.
Two, freeze, hand, arms.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. You all may be seated.
Forward, turn, arms, cut, right, face, over, heart, up, out, face, over, heart, out, right,
Thank you, Milpitas High NJROTC. Next, item 10, comments from public. Are there any public comments at this time? Scott, online. Are there any online public comments?
We have no public comment at this time.
There's no online public comments at this time. Thank you, Scott. We do have one green card. We have Charles Slechbaum.
Patty, for some history, Stephen Stewart was a teacher at Milpitas High School since October 2004. He taught oral composition, English, and American government for 34 years prior to teaching. Mr. Stewart had been a member of the California legal community as a trial lawyer, judge, and in college, Mr. Stewart competed extensively in speech and debate events, and then as a trial lawyer in hundreds of adversarial court proceedings throughout his career. In September 2008, Mr. Stewart decided to commence a competitive speech and debate program at Milpitas High School. The team was launched that month. The program quickly grown from the original 12 members to hundreds of competitors and alumni today. Mr. Stewart passed on November 27, 2013. His last day before he was stricken ill was spent chaperoning middle schoolers and novices at a tournament. In September 2020 through 22nd, Milpitas Speech and Debate, a high school team providing coaching and competition to MHS and both middle schools, is holding a national level debate tournament in his memory, the Stephen Stewart Invitational Debate Tournament. We are expecting almost 1,500 people over the course of 3 days in 21 different events from previously up to 3 states. We are hoping that members of the MUSD leadership could either come observe or even better, come volunteer to judge an event for 2 or 3 rounds. Previous volunteers include Mr. Stice, Cheryl Jordan, and Mr. McGarry. We are hoping that some members of the public would be moved to come out and help, either to judge or to donate supplies. This tournament has a similar ranking as the Columbia, UNLV, George Mason, and CSU Long Beach college tournaments. Our students could use the help.
Great, thank you. Superintendent Jordan, if we can get that information and share it with our community through Parent Square so that they can solicit some volunteers.
Sure. So Mr. Schlitzbaum can share the information through his school administration, and they can put it out to Parent Square. And also, if you share it with Mr. Forstner, he can get it out on social media.
We have a flyer in the works. All my kids are watching the debate, though.
Okay.
Thank you.
That would be- yeah.
Scott, is there any written public comments?
Yes, we do have one written public comment from Rose Herradura of Fontainebleau Court in Milpitas with a child at Pomeroy. I am writing to address a safety and accessibility concern regarding the fence between Pomeroy's grass field and MHS parking lot. With the current requirements to keep all gates locked for emergency preparedness, families are unable to use this path for pickup and drop-off. This situation will force more families to drive to the front of the school, increasing traffic on Escuela and adding congestion to an already busy area. Moreover, if the gate remains locked, some families may walk along the perimeter of the fence or use the MHS parking lot to reach the crosswalk, creating safety risks on an active street. To prevent these potential hazards and alleviate traffic on Escuela, we kindly request that the fence be relocated to allow safe and secure access to the back of the school. The solution would maintain the integrity of the school grounds while continuing to provide families a safe and more convenient way to pick up and drop off children. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And that's it.
Thank you, Scott. Superintendent Jordan, can we look at just our safety protocols at each school site and provide that to our parents? All right. Item 11, MUSD strategic goals. Build a culture of we that engages parents, staff, and community partners in support of student success. And we'll go down the line to Vice President Mutuan.
Improve communication systems for better outreach to parents, students, and staff.
Develop educational pathways that allow students to apply their passion in learning for their future careers.
Focus services and support systems to ensure that all students are engaged in their learning and are making social, emotional, and academic gains.
Identify creative student-focused strategies to accommodate enrollment growth and ensure a healthy learning environment.
Thank you so much. Item 12, Superintendent's report, starting off with recognitions.
Thank you very much, President No. We have a number of people here tonight to be recognized for their exceptional work and contributions to our MUSD community. First, I would like to ask our president of the Milpitas High School Crochet Club, Miss Lee, to come to, thank you, to come to the podium with the other members of the club. They, this summer, took time to teach crochet to members at the Milpitas Senior Center. And so we would like to thank you for that and ask you to come to the front of the podium, dais, so that we can have a photo with you, and then I'll ask you to say a few words about your project. Thank you. And which one of you would like to say a few words?
Thank you so much for this honor. It's really an effort of all the members of Crochet Club and officers that couldn't be here today. I also want to say thank you to the supervisors at the Milpitas Senior Center, Anne Marie and John Macon. This program has been going on since last summer, and it's just really a way for high schoolers to kind of bridge the generational gap, reach out to people they may not, reach out to all the time, and really connect with your community through a shared hobby.
Thank you both. I appreciate that, especially what stood out is when you said bridging the generation gap on a hobby that we all like to do. Thank you. Next, we have our Tech Challenge teams from Randall, Sennett, and Weller, and I would like to read the names of the team members from each one. Oh, that's why it's confusing. Thank you. All right, so from Randall Elementary, and please come when I call your name, we have Martin Padilla, Victor Salcedo, Sebastian Dominguez, Sebastian Garay, Siana Cabana, Anjali Palavarthi, Naya Ancheta, Vincent Song, Jaden Gutierrez, Juan Ramirez, and Nico Wong. And who is your coach?
Who's your coach and
Ah, Mr. Jose.
There you go. All right.
Mr. Dominguez, come on up so you can take a photo with the team. And do we also have either of our co-principals with us?
Yes.
Aha.
Let's squeeze in, guys. Yeah.
Can we have our middle school Randall Tech Challenge team?
Okay.
All right. I see also we have some of our parents with us.
All right.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. And Coach Dominguez, is there a lead student? Is there a lead student? A captain?
No, it was 3 different teams.
Okay. Here, let me give you the mic.
We had a 4th, a 5th, and a 7th grade team. They all did fantastic. Our 4th grade team did receive an award, and they were awarded for best paperwork. So they had a good one. So I'm very proud of all of them.
Thank you so much. Thank you to our parents. Next, we have our Weller Tech Challenge team. So please come up when you hear your name. Arya Bagui, Ankasha Bankwar, Anwesha Bankwar, Ruma Gadam, Savi Manthana, Arna Chakrad, Kanika Kumar, Motsina Sri Swamiya, Karthik Maharaj, Vemrid Udwap, Burhandir Furniture Wala, Arat Karthik, Artav Kumar, Rigoberto Ramirez, Alan Tran, Jocelyn Chang, Christina Dominguez, Carmen Hu, Arav Walikar, Athan Chin, Guhan Ganapathy, Vasan Ganapathy, Daryl Wynn, Benjamin Rodriguez, and Tejas Samita. All right, you're our representatives. And who is your coach?
Miss Frost and my mom.
Okay, I know I don't see Miss Frost, but is your mom here? All right, excellent. And we have our principal, Ms. Elsie. Just tell us about your experience. All right.
So Weller, this is the second time we are going for the Tech Challenge. We had 5 teams, and the kids were, I think they were very innovative. They brought in all the skills that they learned. They had electives like 3D modeling and a lot of other, they actually used all those processes when they were developing these models. So it was good.
Congratulations. Good job, guys.
Thank you, guys, and thank you very much for coaching them. Thank you. Thank you. And from our Senate Challenge team, we have the Galactic Troopers, and that would be Ananya Raja, Angad Mani, Samvi Surapaneni, and Vidana Gandhi. And our Guardians of the Galaxy team, Aditya Siddharth, David Rakita, Kusharga Jha, and Ruhan Fulay.
Parents, come on in. Parents, you can ask Mr. Foster to take your picture. Guys, you can also come in. I see a lot of parents. Join us.
We did. Thank you. And wait, before you sit down, who would like to tell us about their experience
Okay. Do you want to tell us about the experience? Love to have a kid voice. All right, tell us your name.
My name's Sanvi. My name's Sanvi Sarapaneni, and the Tech Challenge is really, really awesome. It gives us an opportunity to have engineering skills. Last year, we got to use shop skills like woodworking for our models, and that's something we don't really have nowadays. It was really fun. We also learned how to create an engineering journal and a lot of more engineering skills. All in all, it's a great program, and I'm happy to be part of it.
I'm happy you're part of it too. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you so much. Thank you, parents and families and school team members, for being a part of the Tech Challenge and assuring that all of our students have this type of experience. So thank you. It takes all of us to make these things happen. What are you saying? Oh. I just do one per school because there's several teams per school. Yeah, they did. They were on the edges. Yes, they were. They were on the edges. Mm-hmm. All right. Yep. Yep. Nope. Now we still have more. Okay. Next we have Vincent Tran. Vincent Tran is also led Tech Challenge teams, but tonight he's here because we are recognizing you, Mr. Tran, for being selected as an Educator of the Year for the RAFT Resources for Teachers, Tech Teacher of the Year, and as a result, Mr. Tran received some funding and some supplies from RAFT for himself, as well as our school team at Rancho. So we're really proud of you, Mr. Tran, and thank you for really taking time to assure that all of our kids have these experiences with tech, and for making that leap from changing the math that you used to do to doing something brand new. And already you've been stellar in just spending Saturdays and after school to assure that our learners have all these fantastic experiences. So I thank you for that, and I ask your family and your Rancho team to join us. So, Mr. Tran, would you like to share a little bit about your experience and what brought you here?
Well, thank you, all board members and Superintendent Cheryl Jordan. I feel very honored to be here. It's a great place to be here in Milpitas. I'm actually a former Rancho Don some 30 plus years ago. So it's make it even more special to work and support our community. I have to give credit where credit's due. Thanks to Mr. Thor Parker, who left me with such a comprehensive program, and I'm able to continue that with our Rancho students. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to working with you to learn more about AI, and to help our students. So I'm very grateful to be here today, and thank you.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Vincent. Happy birthday to you. I'd like to point out Ms. Salsa and also Principal Caruso, if you could come over here for a minute, the two of you. So Mr. Tran mentioned AI. This team of 3 was selected by Silicon Schools Fund to participate as a part of an AI task force throughout our Bay Area So they'll be working with other educators over the next year, possibly 2 years, looking at AI and how we use it in our work, and especially how we use it with kids. So I'd like to recognize the three of you for being pioneers and say thank you very much for being leaders in our district as we venture towards the future together. Okay, we next have our maid in MUSD. From Senate, we have third grade teacher Nargis Shuya and our health clerk, Adriana Quinonez. If we could have the two of you and any family members that you've brought, as well as your principal and other Senate team members, please come on up with your family members too. Ms. Nargis, would you like to say a few words? Or Ms. Armino, would you like to say something about both? Thank you.
I selected these two. Nargis is an amazing teacher who, and if you read her quote in her Maid in Milpitas, she does a wonderful job of really taking kids where they're at, no matter where they're at, and helping them to really excel. And she has a level of rigor and achievement in her class that I am always amazed by at the end of the year, what she can get her kids to do from no matter what level they start at. So thank you for what you do. And then Adriana, oh, she's not up there anymore. She's our health clerk. She is a huge part of our school and sees almost all of the kids. She's a safe space if they need a break, if they need a drink of water, if they need a Band-Aid. But she is willing to pitch in anywhere, and we couldn't have a front office without her, so that's why she chose.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Nargis. And that's it for this part. Thank you. Next time I need to make sure I'm standing in front of my set. Thank you. Okay, next, I would like to introduce to everyone our new business director, Ms. Trang Vo. Ms. Vo comes to us from originally Cupertino Elementary School District, which is a district that at one time was close to 20,000 students and is now, I think, around 15,000. She started as a student nutrition services person and has done various jobs in business, including a bit of time with payroll, accounting, budgeting. She is a person who, from all the people we talked with about her, they cited that if you have a challenge, that's when she really thrives. because she enjoys figuring things out. She does it with optimism and a real dedication to building the team around her. So we're excited to bring you into our culture of we, and our MUSD team is Vote. The floor is yours.
This is on. Oh, thank you. Good evening, MUSD Governing Board, Superintendent Jordan, and Executive Cabinet. Thank you so much for this wonderful honor to join the MUSD family. Everyone knows that it takes a village to raise a child, and I'm so excited to be a part of this MUSD village. I'm a Bay Area native, so I grew up in San Jose. I went to Franklin McKinley, Eastside Union High School District, Community College, and then I transferred to San Jose State. Without my village, which consists of my family, friends, teachers, mentors, and the community who believed in me, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I am the product and a proud product of the public school system. I speak a little bit about my education journey because not everyone's education journey is the same. What I love about MUSD is that MUSD not only recognizes that each person has a different education journey, but MUSD encourages and engages its students to follow their passions through different learnings for future career through so many opportunities that are available here. I am so excited to join a team whose values align with mine and a district that values every student and their cultural background. I look forward to serving our students and staff to maintain our educational excellence. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to our business services team for being here to welcome Ms. Vo to our MUSD family. Thank you. And that concludes the superintendent's portion of the reports tonight, President No.
Thank you, Superintendent Jordan. Next up is Superintendent's Executive Cabinet reports. And members of the Executive Cabinet will have significant recent information to present to the governing board on the topics that are not on the agenda. Reports are limited to 90 seconds each, with 5 minutes for the principal's report.
Thank you. We will begin with the principal's report. Principal Armino and Assistant Principal Satan are here tonight to share with us what's happening at Senate.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us. I think Scott has our few slides. All right, the Senate Wildcats this year have 3 areas of focus: attendance, positive behavior, and PE for this year. Next slide. Go ahead. Okay. So attendance and behavior sort of go together. So what we're working on is making that connection with kids. And so we have an agreement that at Senate we are going to do at least a weekly circle with kids. And we share a lot of different kinds of circles and prompts that anyone can use. We do a weekly mindfulness activity in every classroom. We are greeting students at the door, not only in the morning, but also after recess and lunch, which is where a lot of behaviors can occur. So we want to see how kids are coming back to the classroom after those times, and just being out and visible as the kids come towards us. And then Gina and I are going to be focusing on specific students, and she's working with classroom incentives and contracts. And then we also have some grade level challenges and incentives. Scott.
So for attendance, some of the incentives we've created, we have this monthly challenge, and how we rolled this out is I spent time going to specifically our SDC classes, looking at our California dashboards. Our SDC population, our special ed population is where we need to focus. So on back to school night, I went specifically to our special ed classrooms and talked to the parents and gave them a little pamphlet about attendance and how they can support their kids in coming to school. And then the next day went in and talked to the kids and presented them with this calendar that has incentives for each month and got them excited about coming to school. So for the August and September, they're working to earn an ice cream party, and they're very excited. Our goal is 97% we're trying to reach, so they know that if one kid is absent, they still get to color a letter. So they are all very excited to have an ice cream party at the end of this month. We did offer it to all grade levels, so we do have about 3 grade levels doing it. We're hoping more will pick it up as we go. And we also did have kindergarten focusing on pushing out attendance stuff to parents on back to school night. So that is how we are focusing on attendance right now, special ed and kindergarten.
All right, next slide. All right, and then our third one is physical education. As we know, when we don't have the pairs anymore, we really wanted this to be a focus because we want it to be a robust activity at our school. It's one of the only things where we have to report the minutes that we are doing. So we really want to get them ready for that fitness testing, the MEOs, and middle school and beyond. And we want them to have the skills to be able to participate not only in all those things, but just the activities that happen with their families. So each PE session for each class starts with a warm-up. It has a run, depending on what grade level their laps. They're gonna teach and or practice a skill, and then do a game or activity, and then have a cool down and a wrap up. And we did a lot of work in the beginning of the year and continue to do that on what our PE curriculum is gonna look like. First grade right now is working on recess games, because it's their first time on the big play yard, right? So how do we teach those games? And we came up with rules last week as a staff. And then, you know, depending on the grade level, they're working on different skills at different times, so we can share equipment. We bought a lot of new stuff. We have pickleball going, badminton, all the normal games, as well as really getting their endurance and fitness up. And then we are going to track data because kids love to know what their times are. So every single teacher is going to have a data sheet, including kindergarten. We don't have a kindergarten PE program and never have, but they have decided that they are going to create a PE program for our kinders. So they're also involved. But for the bigger kids, the 50-yard dash is a huge one, running the mile. So we're going to track that so we can see what their progress is. And then they're going to figure out what other skills they want to do. How far did they throw? What's their kick like? And then some monthly challenges, which will include jump rope, hula hoop, those kinds of things.
And just some pictures of our teachers in action. So a lot of our primary teachers have enlisted some parent volunteers to help with our program. So it's really fun to go out there and see some of our parents out there actually coaching some of our kiddos. We have 2 dads out here right now working on teaching our kids some throwing skills and teaching them the correct form for throwing, and just watching them do the warm-up routines with the kids. And then I think if you do the next slide, we have our intermediate kids working on their pickleball. So we have a lot of pickleball courts that we bought, so they're setting up the nets and they're actually practicing the skills of learning how to use the paddles. We have a teacher who was a badminton pro, so she is teaching them how to do the correct form and everything. So it's really fun to go out there and see them throughout the day doing the different skills.
That's it.
Thank you very much. And I will go ahead and share with everybody our attendance data. And thank you for focusing on attendance and athletics. I was just at Sunny Hills Association on Saturday, sharing with the community about the importance of physical activity and athletics as a part of well-being, and also how we can increase student engagement. Thank you for illustrating that. So first, I would like to share with the board and community our school by school average daily attendance to date. And you can see for the most part, we are well above 95% and close to 99% in some schools. This is a new chart that I have that I can share. And it indicates to us the absences since the first day of school, where the absences were around 490, and then more recently have dropped down to about 221.
And the orange is excused absences, the pink is unexcused absence. I do have to note that even though those absences are excused, they still do not count towards the average daily attendance 100% goal that we would love for every one of our learners to have. This breaks down the chart information that you saw by week, or excuse me, by day up until the 10th. And you can see again the total enrollment on the August 30th was 10,144. We've increased our enrollment by 33. And you can see that our average daily attendance as of today is close to 98%. So if we keep this trend up all the way through the beginning of May, we'll be in great shape.
Superintendent, did you have a slide that showed the individual school breakdown, or you've modified the slides?
I did. That was right over here.
I couldn't see it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And I want to point out to everybody that next Tuesday we have a special board study session on the state of the district at 4 o'clock here at the Randall World Languages School in the multi-use room. I greatly look forward to having many of our MUSD team members with us, as well as community members. We will be talking about the state of the district, and attendance will be one aspect of it, but also budget, as well as some of the ways that we've achieved and some of the other challenges that we have. As Principal Aramino and Assistant Principal Satan pointed out this evening, chronic absenteeism is one of those challenges. And now I would like to turn to the Executive Cabinet, and Executive Cabinet will be presenting that State of the District with me next Tuesday. So let's start this evening with Assistant Superintendent of Human Relations, Mr. Damon James.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. Earlier this week, I spoke with Superintendent Jordan and shared sometimes I feel left out on the panel when it's time to present, because so much of the information, so much of the work that we do in HR is confidential, and I talk with you all in closed session. However, I'm happy to say that we have secured 2 certificated positions that we were in need of. One is the counselor for Calaveras Hills High School. So we anticipate the individual starting on Friday, and we have secured another mild moderate special education teacher for Milpitas High School. So with that, fingers crossed, we're fully staffed for certificated. So I want to thank the student services team, especially for assisting us with any positions we couldn't fill through our process and needing to lean on the contracting agencies. But I think we're really happy with our certificated positions. And then we're still looking for classified talent out there. Our classified interview panel, they have high expectations for who we bring into Milpitas. So we're interviewing and looking to bring people in that want to grow with Milpitas. Then I just want to remind everyone that I know that October 4th is a special day, but it also is a day for us to secure and recruit classified individuals to participate in what we do here in Milpitas Unified at the Santa Clara County Office of Education. So some people may have other things to do, but if they also would like to drop by and support there, they can too. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Now let's move to our Executive Director of Learning and Innovation, Ms. Preeti Jahari.
Thank you. Tonight, I wanted to use my 60 seconds to make a plug for a new technology we've invested in as a district, Conmigo. Conmigo is an AI-powered support for education from Khan Academy, a tool we've been using for many years in the district. And this tool, Conmigo, is now available to all students in the district from 4th grade and above. Their tagline is, Conmigo can be your always available tutor, study buddy, or writing coach. And we encourage you to check it out with your students.
This year, the Curriculum Policy Committee will also explore the integration of AI tools, Conmigo just being one of them, in our district. This voluntary committee will be comprised of administrators, teachers, middle and high school students. Together, we'll examine educational tools and develop guidelines for their responsible and productive use across the grade levels, as well as how generative AI tools can be used to personalize learning for all of our students, especially those receiving special education services and English learners. I look forward to sharing the work of this committee with everyone over the course of the year.
Thank you. And our Executive Director of Inclusive Services for All Learners, Ms. Mary Jude Dorpinghouse.
Good evening. This evening, if Scott, could you pull up the slide deck for me? So on the slide, you'll see some photos from our resource fair, which was held at Milpitas High School campus on Saturday. And this event, we had over 150 parents and family members participate in our Resource Wellness Fair. It was a very inclusive event spanning participants from preschool all the way up through secondary. It also, because of the preparedness of our team, it had Farsi, Vietnamese, Spanish, Chinese, and English interpreters so that our families could access it. There were a wide variety of community partners, everything from the Milpitas Police Department to the Fire Department, Second Harvest, Library, Parks and Rec, City folks, NJROTC, our Wellness Center, First Five, Hope for the Unhoused, thank you, Robert, behaviorists, dentists, nurses. It was a really well thought out plan, and kudos out to Nicole Stewart, Norma Morales. You heard Norma plug it last time beforehand. Our community liaisons were Cal Villalobos and Claudia Navarrete, and many, many students who are putting in some community service hours. So the event was a great success. Thank you to the board members for being present. And also, if you go to slide number 2, you'll see some photos from some training as we work to support our teachers in practices that support students, neurodiverse students in the general education setting. These are some photos from our training with all of our elementary RSP staff this past week as they learned strategies to support the least restrictive environment. And starting tomorrow, we will have all of our classified staff, paras, transition assistants, and behavior therapists learning about behavior and how to support general education. That concludes our learning and development report this evening. Thank you.
Excuse me.
And our Chief Business Officer, Ms. Dorothy Ricknose.
Excuse me? I have a question.
Yes.
What is RSP and LRE?
Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. So RSP is the Resource Specialist Program. They are education specialists that are trained in special education to support our neurodiverse students or students with disability. And LRE is least restrictive environment. What that actually means is that when a student has a disability or a student needs supports through special education on an individualized education plan, also known as an IEP, we always look to see what is the setting that is closest to the gen ed setting for that student. And it varies from student to student, but for students who are in their resource program, that is less restrictive than because the students spend some of their time in general education. It is less restrictive than a student perhaps in a special day class, but an RSP program, resource program, is more restricted than if a student was in general education at all times.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you for stopping me on that.
Thank you. And Chief Business Officer Dorothy Ricknose.
Tonight, I am so happy to say that our unaudited actual is finally done. So I would like to thank the business services staff, the department staff that for all the work that they've been doing these last 2-3 months. Our former director, Shani Yam, has done a lot. You know, she did as much as she could before leaving us, which I really appreciate because it helped us kind of have a little bit of head start on the work that needed to be done. And I want to make a special shout out to our budget supervisor, Duke Vu, because he stepped up and, really helped fill in the gaps during the time when we were working on our unaudited actuals. His team worked diligently in making sure that all our invoices have been paid, and so we can balance our books at the end of the year. So I want to thank you, Duke, for all the hard work that you put into it, and your team, and the entire business services team. So tonight you will see that presentation. We're going to show you how we ended the year. And even though the year end is done, we still have some work to do because the annual audit is still in progress. So that's something that Duke and the team is also currently working on. So we can breathe a little bit because now we're not working on two things at the same time. So we can focus on our financial audit. And onboarding a new director will tremendously help us, get the audit process a lot faster and having additional help. Also, as part of our goal of having professional development for classified staff, the Business Services Bond MOT team is attending a free procurement workshop hosted by San Jose Unified Office to enhance and expand our knowledge on bidding rules for different items and services, construction procurement, CUPCA, buying daily supplies, any conflict of interest. So these are something that we want our staff to have a continuous brush up of knowledge or learn something new, so that when we learn something that, from outside, we bring it in here and we enhance our process. That's my report for tonight.
Thank you. And that concludes the Executive Cabinet report, President No.
Thank you, Superintendent Jordan. Next, item 14, the Student Board Rep. Student Board Reps report on school and student activities. Reports are limited to 90 seconds each. Scott, please introduce our Student Board Reps.
Okay, we'll start with our MUSD Middle College High School Student Board Rep, Elijah Sandoval. Go right ahead, Elijah.
Good evening. So a topic that I'm really passionate about right now is our clog rush, in which we're holding tomorrow during our lunch hours, allowing not only our middle college students to join our clubs, but also MHS students or dual enrollment students who are arriving to our school to go to the in-person college courses. Right now, ASG and us are working together to connect our new 11th and 10th graders by their similar interests through this clog rush. Right now, this week, me and a bunch of my other peers are collaborating to create posters, QR codes, mascots, and more to showcase our clubs and what we are promoting. For a few of our events, we have already created our schedule and how we're going to work our club. So first, we're doing a mascot competition in which everybody who joins, it is an artist club, but it doesn't just pertain to drawing, since I don't draw personally, but I'm the vice president. But we'll still be working together to create what represents our group, and through that, we'll like people who dance, people who sing, people who do anything to put any part into their, so we call it the bakery, in which it's not about food, but we would like to think of it as anything that you can put into here, no matter if it's I don't know, cake, savory foods, spicy foods, any of that. That's what we like to do. We would like to connect everybody who's 10th graders, 11th graders, anybody who's new to our campus to join. And with that, we also have other clubs, such as the Video Game Club, who has already created a game and are working together to create new designs, what would they like to do part of the game. We have Computer Science Club, Yearbook, and Photography, all organized by students. And especially ASG are working together to even create a table at the Clog Rush event tomorrow, just to help bring anybody together. Such as our ASG meetings, which are open to everybody. We would like to bring everybody together. This year, as many new students are coming, personally, I don't like big, large groups of people, but we would like to welcome everybody. We would like our new 40-plus students who are coming onto our campus to be a part of what we're representing as MMCHS, and we would like to do that through our similar interest, anything we would like to promote, such as our shared English teacher. We are working on our community impact project, which promotes all students to get involved in what they're passionate about, work with organizations, and ranging from anywhere, be a part of a protest, be part of anything that you're passionate about. I'm personally working on environmental issues, but people can go from social issues, such as anything that can involve them. And we'd like our school to be more part of that, yes.
Thank you, Elijah, for your reports. Great first attempt. Let's try to keep it to 90 seconds in the future. Appreciate that.
Okay, and now our student board rep, Gavidia of Calaveras Hills High School.
Hi, I just wanted to let you guys know that we're having a back to school night on Wednesday, September 18th from 5 to 7 p.m. And it is Fiesta themed and it is completely student led and created. So students in my leadership class are helping find vendors and music and like setting up all the posters and everything. And we will also have guided tours of the campus, and our new logo will also be revealed there. And everyone is invited, and there's flyers in the back if you guys would like more information. We are also continuing our project-based learning and have a consulting company called PBL Works come observe and help us continue implement this strategy. So my English class, or Ms. Mendoza's English class, will be previewing some of their photos that will be part of the photojournalist project, showing what they wish people knew about our school. And in my environmental science class, we are learning about environmental sustainability and how we can solve some environmental problems. And our student council elections are in September, this month, so students are getting started on prompting themselves around the school with posters and social media acts. And we also have a dual enrollment program that I and 2 other students are involved in, so we get to leave school early and are involved in college classes after we're done with the day at high school, which I think is really cool because we get to finish a semester of college after we graduate high school. And we also have a manufacturing day on October 4th, where students will go to a business in Milpitas and get to see how the business is run and like the warehouse aspect of it. So I think that's cool as well, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcella, for your report. Scott, do we still have the Milpitas High rep?
No, our student rep, Mei Chung from Milpitas High School could not make it tonight.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Next, item 15, board group agreements. The board group agreements are provided for the board's ready reference as a reminder of our conduct as elected officials. For Board Bylaw 9001 and readopted at the March 12, 2024 meeting, board members and superintendent agreed to. I'm going to ask Elijah to help with number 1.
Keep learning and achievement for all students as a primary focus.
Thank you. Marcella, can you do number 2?
Ask questions for our own understanding to make an informed vote.
Thank you. And we'll move to the left. Trustee Norwood.
Be open and honest with each other.
No surprises includes unapproved communications with law enforcement, news media, regional elected officials on behalf of the district and/or board.
Be aware that our behavior in the community reflects on us as a governance team.
Communicate proactively with each other about topics, questions, and challenges in open session and in advance of public board meetings in compliance with the Brown Act.
Participate in professional development and commit the time and energy necessary to be an informed and effective governance leader. Superintendent Jordan, can you finish us off?
You bet. Actively support the culture we in action, earnest, and opportunity to serve the students and parents, caregivers of the Milpitas Unified School District.
Thank you so much. Item 16, board communication requests. This part of the agenda provides school board members the opportunity to report on their activities as elected representatives. School board members may request placement of items in future board agenda, relay information from the community, or request information from staff. Reports are limited to 90 seconds each, and Trustee Norwood.
Board President, we just received word that the Milpitas High School rep is online and available.
Sure, Scott, if they're online available, we can go to,
Well, it's a substitute person for Milpitas High School.
What's their name?
Alana?
Okay. Alana, we have enabled your audio. Please take yourself off mute, and you will have 90 seconds to give the Milpitas High School report. You have to take yourself off mute, Alana. There you go.
Hello.
You're good to go.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Alana, and I'm subbing for May to represent Milpitas High School. The biggest event coming up at the school is homecoming, and students are working hard towards events like getting votes for homecoming court and building floats for the football game. So we have a Cocoa blowout sale this Wednesday for $10. You can find all the information for homecoming on the MHS Trojans Instagram page, where they specify pricing and guest passes. Speaking of, we will have our tailgate this Friday before our football game, and we are doing themed football games. So, for example, last week was Wild West, and this week is Neon Lights. So, we hope to see the crowd dressed up. We are going to have food trucks like Spartan Tacos and IT, as well as other activities like arts and crafts. And as the school year is starting back up, we also have a ton of things to sign up for, like the new esports team at the Innovation Campus. Their informational meetings was today, so it might be too late to join, but keep an eye out for them. There are also girls' soccer trials happening September 19th in P5 by Coach Sampson. They plan to start practices in early November, and PSAT signups are starting this Wednesday and run all the way until September 27th. Students can register at the student bank, and the actual test date is Saturday, October 12th. Lastly, you can now sign up for our annual summer field trip. This year, we're traveling to Paris, Normandy, Brittany, and London in June. The informational meeting for that is this Friday, September 13th in H3, and that's it for this report. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Moving to Trustee Norwood.
I yield the time.
Trustee Zhang.
Thank you. I just have one announcement, basically. Recently, I was named the chair of a new committee for the Santa Clara County School Boards Association. The new committee is named, a long one, it's Supporting Unhoused Students Through Communication, Collaboration, Education, and Solutions for School Districts, which is acronym to SUCCESS. So what we intend to try to do with this committee is to really focus support for our McKinley-Vento students across our Santa Clara County. That's all.
Thank you, Trustee Zhang. Board Clerk Naka.
Thank you, President. No, I did attend back-to-school nights at few of the sites last week, so that was amazing to see all the students come back, and they were all excited, and the parents as well. And I also did get an opportunity to attend the MUSD's State of the District, where our Superintendent Jordan got to present at the Sunny Hills Neighborhood Association breakfast. So, and as well as I attended the resource fair, which was a huge success. Yeah, that concludes my report. Thank you so much, President.
Thank you, Board Clerk Naka. Vice President Yusron.
Good evening, and thank you, President No. For my activities, I attended the back-to-school night at TRMS, attended the Cars and Coffee with Cops, the Sunny Hills Breakfast, MUSD Resource Fair, and the best highlight was attending La Raza Awards Banquet to celebrate our former school board trustee receiving recognition. And I also went to the Baymek brunch. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Yusron. Just to request Superintendent Jordan for our next city school collaborative, could we agendize public safety regarding crossing guards, the traffic light update on Calaveras, and looking into the potential developments and impact to our student enrollment.
Got it.
Great, thank you. Moving on, item 17, action item. Superintendent's Office adopt the resolution 2025.11 honoring first responders and recognizing September 11th as Patriot Day, a national day of service and remembrance.
Thank you, President No. I'm honored that this evening we have our NJROTC leaders who are here to do our resolution live, and we will begin with, I'm sorry, remind me, Cadet?
Ferranda.
Ron.
Yep. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Cadet Master Chief Petty Officer Ferranda, and with me I have Cadet Petty Officer Verdi, Cadet Seaman Koshi, and Cadet Senior Chief Polywall. Resolution 2025.11, honoring first responders and recognizing September 11th as Patriot Day, a national day of service and remembrance. Whereas on September 11th, 2001, our nation was changed forever by the terrorist attack that killed 2,977 people and injured more than 6,000 others. Whereas in response to the attacks in New York City, Washington, D.C., and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, firefighters, uniformed officers, emergency medical technicians, physicians, nurses, military personnel, and other first responders immediately rose to the service in the heroic attempt to save the lives of the people in danger, more than 400 of whom lost their lives that day. And
whereas in the immediate aftermath of the attacks, thousands of recovery workers, including trade personnel, ironworkers, equipment operators, and many others, joined with uniformed officers and military personnel to help search for and recover victims lost in the attacks. Whereas in the days, weeks, and months followed by the attacks, thousands of people in the United States and others spontaneously volunteered to help support the rescue and recovery efforts, braving both physical and emotional hardship.
Whereas many first responders, rescue and recovery workers, volunteers, and survivors of the attacks continue to suffer from serious medical illnesses and emotional distress related to the physical and mental trauma of the tragedy. Whereas in 2009, Congress passed and President Barack Obama signed the Bipartisan Serve America Act, which established at the request of the 9/11 community federal recognition of September 11th as a National Day of Service and Remembrance.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that the governing body of Milpitas Unified School District, on the 23rd anniversary of the September 11th attacks, join millions in other communities and school districts in commending and honoring the selfless dedication to fellow citizens displayed through the heroic acts of first responders and other individuals in New York, Washington, D.C., and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and recognizing September 11th as Patriots Day, a national day of service and remembrance, with appropriate and personal expressions of service and reflection, which can include performing good deeds, displaying the United States flag, attending memorial and remembrance services, and engaging in community service or other charitable activities in honor of the people who lost their lives or were injured in the attacks of September 11, 2001, and in tribute to those who rose to service to come to the aid of the people in need and in defense of the United States. We are very honored to be able to present the resolution to the board, especially because we are hosting our own remembrance event tomorrow morning at 10:40 at Milpitas High School in front of the P Building portables. We would like to invite the Milpitas community and the board to attend. Passed and adopted by the Milpitas Unified School District Board of Education at a meeting held on September 10th, 2024 by the following vote.
Thank you, cadets. Appreciate it. Do we have a motion?
Adopt resolution honoring first responders and recognizing September 11th as Patriot.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Scott, are there any public comments?
No public comment at this time.
Great. Thank you, Scott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. The resolution is adopted.
Could they confirm that time tomorrow?
What do you mean?
Is it 10:40? Thank you.
So it's 10:40, not 10 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay.
10:40, Mr.
Thank you.
All right, item B, business services, accept the 2023 to 24 unaudited actuals. Dorothy?
Thank you. Scott, can you show on the screen the MYP, please? Or actually, let's start with the summary. Thank you, Scott. So on the screen, you would see that there's two columns. We have the estimated actuals and unaudited actuals. Estimated actuals is what we come up with when we were developing the 24-25 budget for adoption back in May. And this is our estimate at that time to say how we're gonna see we're ending the year, 23-24. Fast forwards a couple of months later, we're closing the books, and the unaudited actuals is how we ended the year. It is called unaudited actuals because this is, the auditors are still reviewing our data, and they will have, that's why we can't call it audited actuals, it's unaudited actuals. And then the board, the auditors will present the final numbers, which is matching ours, and then that's our audited actuals when they presented it to the board in January. We started the year with 27.7 million as a carryover from prior year in 22-23, and we estimated a revenue and transfers from our reserve funds about 169,000 million in estimated actuals, and we end up with 168 million. Our total expenditure and other transfer outs was estimated at 181 million, and our unaudited actuals turned out to be 170 million. During the estimated actuals, when we were developing the budget, we were estimating that we will have a deficit of 20.6 million, and when we close the books, we have a deficit spending of 8 million. The component of our ending fund balance is what we have to have a 3% reserve state mandated by the state, which amount to about $5 million. And we have other obligations and the legally restricted carryover, meaning if there's any unspent money under our legally restricted funds, this is where they come through. And then we're gonna roll that over into our budget in first interim. Scott, can we switch, before I switch to the MY, the multi-year, the board have any questions? Or should I keep? Okay.
No, as far as the expenditures, in previous years, it was COVID funding carryovers, things that we didn't spend on. For this particular past year, what was the primary reason for the variance?
The primary reason is that we had our legally restricted funds that was budgeted in 23-24, and we did not spend all that, and so that becomes the variance of our expenditure. One of our attachments, you can see we have about, I believe, 14.6 million unspent money in legally restricted, and we show it there how we come up with the 14.6, how it's each dollar is accounted for a restricted program, either a grant or a restricted program from the state.
Okay, thank you.
And we don't have any COVID dollars left over anymore. We spent all of it as of 23-24.
Thank you.
Okay, we can switch to the multi-year. Thank you. So on this page, you would see the unaudited actuals. There's 3 columns in peach color or salmon color, whatever color that is. It turned out to be peach on screen, but you could see the third column from the left is the unrestricted funds. I wanted to show you the breakdown of the total general fund dollars that we have, and this is where I'm talking about the restricted funds and unrestricted funds. Unrestricted funds, majority of it are our LCFF money that we have local control in how we want to spend that money. And I would say 85% of that are all salary. And our restricted funds consist of grants and other restricted program coming from the state or federal. When we ended the 23-24, we estimated, or we ended up with 9,772 ADA, and that's how our revenue is based on, with a 8.22 COLA, and we have about 22.57 supplemental funding percentage. The 27 million carryover that I mentioned earlier, here's the breakdown. You can see 8.3 is unrestricted and 19.3 million of that are coming from restricted funds. 102 million of that is the revenue from our unrestricted, and 59 million of that is our restricted. When you might see some, the 162 is the total revenue, all in combination of restricted and unrestricted.
Bertha, which column are you in?
I'm on the third and fourth column from the left. Under unaudited actuals, unrestricted and restricted.
Thank you.
And unrestricted, restricted combined. And down below our expenditure, you can see in unrestricted, we have about 110 million and 60 million in restricted funds. And at the bottom of it, you can see we have a deficit spending of 7.5 million in unrestricted funds, and we have about 513,000 deficit structure in restricted. A deficit structure means that our expenditure is a lot higher than the current income that we're getting that year. So if we have any ending fund balance or unspent money on the bottom is what helps us, balance the budget. Total of that is 8 million in deficit, and below that you can see these are the transfers that we are doing from, or that are coming from the Fund 17 Special Reserve and Building Fund, so that we can balance our budget. Our restricted funds is not, it may look like it's deficit by 513,000, but we are using those carryover to pay for those expenses. The unrestricted dollars, we don't have anything in the ending fund balance. That's why we're borrowing from other funds to balance our budget. The 18,416,540 is the carryover from the restricted funds. And Scott, can you pull up the legally restricted balance? Thank you. I know this is a little small, but the second column from the right is called our 23-24 unaudited actuals. This is the account, this is how we account for the 18.4 million unspent money in restricted. What we're gonna do with the 18.4, this are money that we are going to be spending in the next year or two. So we have a plan, you know, it could be 2-3 year plan on how we're spending it based on the program or the grant, so that these are money accounted for already for the upcoming 2 years. So some of it are paying for positions, and some of it are paying for other services or supplies for the school. So when you see that we have unspent money, all of those unspent money actually come from the restricted fund balance.
So, quick question on those. Let's say it's a 3-year grant. Do we get all of the funds all at once, or is it actually spread across 3 years?
It would depend on the grant or the program. So
Right.
for example, the federal funds, what they would do is they will tell us how much we are receiving, and then they will not give us the money until we spend it. So,
So it's a reimbursement deal?
yes, yes,
Okay.
because they want to make sure that they give us what we actually needed. So when we spend the money, we report it to them, and then they give us the money. So it's there are arrears all the time on federal grants, but we have state grants, and there are other grants and programs that they give us the money up front. The state pretty much would allocate it on a monthly basis, for example, and some are just giving us the money up front. And most of this has been given to us in full, so now we have to spend. If they give us the money, we have 3 years to spend it, so we spend it year 1, and then the rest of the money we're carrying over because we need to spend that in year 2 and year 3.
Right, and this is the report that, at least if I pick the top 3 here, money that we've already received, let's say for the next 3 years, and
Yes.
you're just carrying over each year,
Yes.
and in theory, we're spending it down every year, right?
Yes,
Okay.
so technically these are not ongoing money, these are
Right.
one-time money. So
Understood.
once let's say for example, it's a grant that pays for a position, and in 2 years we deplete those funds, then we don't have money to pay for that position. We have to figure out what to do with that position at that time, or at least 1 year before it happens, so we can plan ahead.
So Dorothy, also the educator effectiveness, is it part of the partial usage of the funds every year for 2 years or something?
So the educator effectiveness is the funds that we received from 21-22. Pretty wanted to add, go ahead.
Sorry, do you want to repeat your question?
Oh, I can see the educator effectiveness. It's like for the fiscal year 21-22, and I have the unaudited and the budget, which is like, is it like segregated per year? that
Yes,
we need to
so
spend?
this one, so each of these has like a different set of rules and criteria. The educator effectiveness grant was one where we had to put forward a budget and a proposal to the board here, and it was approved. So that was one of the first grants that I worked on when I joined, and it had a multi-year spending plan. So every year we're spending down, but one of the things that's tied to it is salaries. So that's also where there can be some, here's what we're estimating, but here's what the actuals are.
Oh, thank you.
And that $1 million ending fund balance that we end up having, Preeti already has a plan for the 2 years how to spend that money down, because it's part of her plan when she applied for the grant.
And also for the Prop 28, I'm assuming it's pretty much the same strategy?
Yeah, Prop 28 that's money that we're given annually. But yes, those are, at the elementary level, we have a district-wide plan that's amongst all 10 of the schools. At the secondary levels, they're individually site-developed plans.
It's like a 5-year.
Prop 28 funds should be ongoing funds.
Annually.
So these are also, like, they come through different means. That one was a proposition that the state of California voters voted on and is there. Something like expanded learning opportunities program, the first one, we know we're supposed to get it for 5 years.
That's exactly what I was, thank you, Preeti.
So perhaps the request, at least for me, is when we put the description on here, can we, I don't know if it's a different column, but can we identify when these particular grants end or if they're ongoing? Because that would help us to kind of understand, okay, you know, where are we? If it's a 5-year grant, just tell me it's a 5-year grant, started here, ended here. If it's ongoing, such as the Prop 28, you know, just say ongoing, because that would help us understand how we are distributing those funds across the timeline, right?
Sure, we can work on doing that. I think what I would just add to the conversation is sometimes the state gives you funds and then a year or a year and a half later we'll be like, oh, and you need to spend it by this deadline. So we actually just got some updates this July around new end dates.
Right.
And so then Dorothy and I were meeting, so this is very fresh
Oh,
for both
okay.
of us because we were just making adjustments
Right.
based on the new deadlines that we were given by the state. So
Got it.
we
Got
can
it.
do that. I just want you to know that some of those change and not.
And
because
that's
of
fair. It's the best available information you got. How's that?
Yes, so we can definitely do that and show that to you in the first interim, and if there's anything that changed, we will show it to you in the second interim.
There you go.
And we will call out whatever has changed during that time.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, Preeti.
And that is my presentation for tonight. If there's any other questions?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion and a second. Scott, do we have any public comments?
We have no public comment at this time.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. The unaudited actuals are accepted. Thank you, Dorothy, and the Business Services team for your work there. Item 2, conduct a public hearing and adopt Resolution 2025-12, the GAN appropriation limits calculation summary. Do we have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion to open public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Public hearing is open for 2 minutes. Do we have a motion to close the public hearing and adopt Resolution 2025-12?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Public hearing is closed and resolution 2025.12 is adopted. Item C, learning and development, conduct a public hearing and adopt the Williams sufficiency hearing and adoption of resolution 2025.10. Do I have a motion to open public hearing?
Move to open public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Public hearing is open for another 2 minutes. Just for clarification, this is the opportunity for anyone that would like to make a public comment. This is your opportunity on this particular item. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing and adopt the resolution?
Motion to close.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Public hearing is closed and resolution 2025.10 is adopted. Item C2, approve the memorandum of understanding for children and youth behavioral health initiative.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a presentation.
We do have a motion, we do have a second. Would we like to hear the presentation?
That's the way that it's supposed to go.
Yeah, I
We're
know.
supposed to bring it up, then we do the motion in the second, then the discussion, then we can ask, right?
How about a short summary? Really short.
All right.
I think, go ahead.
Please come to
Yes.
the podium.
Yeah. You spent all the time, so really short.
I do want to say that this grant that we're bringing forward, MOU, we have Tanya Calabretta online from Santa Clara County Office of Education as well. They will do a quick overview, but this is a funding to help set us up for future reimbursement. So I'll turn it over to Coordinator Sugimura and Program Manager Quintana.
I'm like, that's a perfect summary, Executive Director Dorfinghouse. So good evening, esteemed board members, Superintendent Jordan, and Executive Cabinet. I'm Yvonne Sugimura, Coordinator of Student Services.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sandra Quintana, Program Manager of Mental Health.
And as Executive Director Dorfinghouse mentioned, we also have Tanya Calabretta with SCOE. She is the Assistant Director of Strategic Initiatives and Youth Health and Wellness. So today we wanted to kind of give you preliminary information. This is actually new for both myself and Sandra, so we are actually learning as we go, and we launched into this past summer. So we have a wonderful opportunity here with our Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative. Next slide, please, Scott. So in 2021, this initiative was established to set aside $4.7 billion investment for the state of California, and it seeks to reimagine the systems, regardless of the payer, to support behavioral health for all of California's children, youth, and their families. As part of the collaboration with the Master Plan for Kids' Mental Health that was developed by Governor Newsom, in partnership with the Department of Healthcare Services, our goal is to expand the access of our school-based, also known as school-linked, behavioral health services provided to our students at our individual school sites. Next slide. So think of this as a tri-partnership. And so the state has established this funding, and as I mentioned earlier, in partnership with the Department of Healthcare Services, we'll be working with Santa Clara County Office of Education, who is kind of our receiver of funding, and they will be guiding us through this initial grant process. And so it is a tri-partnership. And we are one of 58 local school districts and charters that will be receiving this funding as we set ourselves up in preparation for the 26-27 school year, where we will all be looking at, I apologize, I do have notes here, establishing a statewide multi-payer fee schedule. Next slide, please. Oh, actually, one more thing I wanted to add. In partnership with the county office, through this two-year funding grant, Santa Clara County Office of Education will provide us with technical assistance through monthly office hours, bi-monthly professional learning network meetings, and individualized check-ins tailored to our individual specific needs as a school district.
So these are the overall CYBHLI capacity grant goals. So these are the goals for any of the receivers of this grant, is to focus on these three areas: the fee schedule readiness. And when we say fee schedule, that means getting our systems of behavioral health, particularly ours that are serving our general education, also our special education program, but we have separate structures that we've been using for our special education billing, to get us ready to bill any insurance. So that's where it said in the previous slide, that's what that means. So that means that our services are going to have to get ready to make that switch to actually look a lot more like managed care and clinics. That's a huge shift. So just want to really emphasize that it's going to take a lot of time and revisiting of our responsibilities and what that looks like for not just our district, but any of these districts entering into this in California. So we're in good company there. For expanded access, that's also to look at, for example, so there's more language up there, but we're kind of giving examples of what our understanding is today. For expanded access, that could look at increasing services and access for our students to behavioral health services, but also working towards having our individuals who are already with us expanding their responsibilities either within their job roles or moving to become licensed or something of the like, because the billing structure is dependent on the role that you fulfill and the reimbursement you receive back as well. For collaborative infrastructure, that's, as Yvonne alluded to, what the types of things are going to be needed in order to make this work with that tri-partnership. So there's a little bit more explanations on the next slides, and Tanya, if you're there, feel free to jump in if we're misspeaking at any point. So the permissible use of grant funding, so think of these as buckets that we could potentially use the funding for, but we may not always need to use it for specific areas, and I'll go into that in just the next slide. So the most we're going to spend is in operational readiness, or we're going to allocate funds. That one is a little more detail on the next slide. Collective impact is things that we are going to utilize our Santa Clara County Office of Ed for support around: technical assistance, implementation support, coaching, perhaps shared measurement tools that we are coached on by them. So that's what collective impact is. Administrative could be shared costs between the district and the county. So because they are the ones who are dispersing these funds to us, they may also be utilizing some of the administrative and the other costs. So there's always kind of an other. So that's for whatever other things we may need to use it for. Next slide, please. So operational readiness, this is the 70% that was on the previous slide. Medi-Cal enrollment, as previously mentioned, we're already billing under Medi-Cal for our special education psycho-assessments and some speech services and counseling services that are done for students who have IEPs. So we already have part of those established, so we may not need to use the funds for that particular element. Service delivery infrastructure and capacity building, however, we most certainly will. Those will be areas like enhancing offices or structures that can respect confidentiality, perhaps wellness spaces that can facilitate service delivery for behavioral health providers. Could also be if we decide through the last piece for collaborative structure previously that we are going to be partnering with CBOs, perhaps we need to facilitate spaces and co-shared locations around that. So these are all things we're going to explore and that this funding could potentially be used for, as well as training for our providers who are providing those services on evidence-based practices.
Sandra, can
yeah.
you explain CBO, please?
Sorry, community-based organizations. So any of the agencies, thank you, I know we speak in alphabet soup oftentimes. So any of the organizations or agencies that we may partner with, for example, we have some partnerships already with Pacific Clinics, with Starlight, and with others that are serving particular parts of our community, but we may be able to expand those partnerships to serve even more students under that expanded access area. Data collection and documentation, this is going to be where a lot of our big shift is going to be, because we're going to have to create a system for our referrals to look very compliant with being able to bill. So, you know, when you go to your healthcare offices and you often have to fill certain forms and your providers there have to also have documentations into their portals, this is kind of what we're talking about. We're talking about changing what our internal documentation systems look like, training our folks on that, potentially contracting with others who can help us build those systems. And then the last is the billing infrastructure here, which is recruiting, hiring, and onboarding. We will need an in-house person to support the ongoing billing maintenance, the structure, the infrastructure, as well as the technical assistance part of inputting these billing. And we will also need to purchase and keep up to date with an electronic health record system. So that's where we input and store all our data. We have places where audits are conducted. This is a big change. So we just wanted to highlight some examples of what that could look like. And all of these elements will need time for training, time for adjustment, time for looking at roles and responsibilities. Next slide, please. Thank you.
Perfect. So here is the timeline for our capacity grants deliverables. So the baseline survey was already due back in August. And so that has been completed. Next is today we're bringing it to the board to review with our short summary. Once you take action and if it is approved, then we are then able to then submit the MOU to the county. Within 10 days that they receive it, we have to actually submit a preliminary budget in which then we are able to invoice for 50% of our grant. Following that, as you can see, when it comes to November, we'll submit our first via Qualtrics, again, submitting our survey response, and then we're able to then bill the additional next 40%. So by November, we would have received 90% of our grant award. And then we have 3 progress report times. You can see progress report number 1 will be 1 year from now in July, and then progress report number 2 will be in January of 2026, in which then we are able to then bill for the final 10% of our grant. And then our final report will be due in the summer of 2026. So again, this grant is over a 2-year span. And then final slide, Scott. So, Milpitas Unified School District has been awarded $398,440 to support this 2-year plan. As we shared a brief summary of, all funds must be budgeted and implemented in alignment with the use of the funds. And all the grant money must be used by June 30th of 2026. If there are any remaining funds, the remaining funds will be absorbed by our county office. And so again, today, we need the approval for them to then develop our preliminary budget, following that, our implementation plan. Okay. Questions?
Just one question.
Yes.
In this particular timeline implementation, have you considered doing quote unquote a simulation of different type of services that you would bill, just so that you can show that this works and there's no hiccups getting it to the county office and then potentially getting reimbursements.
Yeah, great question, and actually it highlighted something I neglected to mention, which is that there's different cohorts we actually have to apply for. So this capacity grant, Tanya's nodding, yes, am I on the right track there? So this capacity grant is to get us ready for billing, which then means we apply for a cohort in the state to then begins to start billing, and that's where we start to work out the kinks and everything like that. Tanya, did you have something to add?
No, actually, both of you could do my presentations over and over again. You did a wonderful job explaining it. But yes, so the cohorts are ran through DHCS, and it really is a learning opportunity for LEAs to become operational ready and to access the fee schedule. The state does use a third-party vendor called Carillon that processes the claims. As a part of our technical assistance and offering, LEAs can join cohort 3 as a consortium under Santa Clara County Office of Education. And if an LEA elects to do that, which is separate from this grant and MOU, but if an LEA does elect to take that route, you would have access to our EHR and our billing team to do the billing for you. So there's a lot of opportunities and things to weigh in the decisions that you make. But this particular grant funding is to support getting there. The rest is part of DHCS and our state initiative.
I would ask for executive cabinet and the team as they go through this process to think about what this looks like 5 years from now when there's no dollars being provided in a grant fashion, because you are talking about a significantly different infrastructure or a different component of a public education system that is solely going to be responsible for billing to recoup costs that we're spending in a medical fashion, whereas there are whole organizations, that's all they do. So I appreciated hearing from the county office that they would be able to provide that additional support. But their goal is probably not to provide that additional support for every school district in the county. That's probably not their goal. They're going to look to provide support where it's most needed. And so when we look 5 years from now in terms of the number of hours that we could potentially bill for, and then the number of changes that happens in the healthcare profession with the ongoing changes in codes, a number of those things, this is a major undertaking. So I would hope that in the process of looking at this, we also look at alternative ways for our infrastructure to be self-sustained, that it doesn't continue to expand. Because the professional development is going to be ongoing for many, many years to come, because once we start to shift in this direction for this type of billing, it smells like that from the state level, there's going to be some attachment to school district funding, because now we're starting to gain funding from behavioral health to support students, which will even put more pressure on our infrastructure, HR, as well as finance to be able to manage this. So I would really hope that in the analysis of with this grant, there's analysis that goes on saying, how do we make this sustainable beyond once we start to move in that direction based on what the number of students that we potentially will be serving in the district for this particular service. Does that make sense?
Yes. Oh yeah, it does.
And I would ask the superintendent that we continue to have reports and updates on terms of this process so that the board can make an effective decision when it is time to make that, not to say that we spent this grant, we did all this work, this is what we think we can do, and we just say yes to it, versus us having a real candid conversation saying, this is what it's going to look like for us to do this for the next decade. That is going to be very, very important. So that is one of my big asks.
Yeah, totally. I definitely acknowledge that, as well as to state, like while we're learning about this grant, it's also something that's continuing to be developed at the state level with the billing structures, what those things look like. Like we put in your resources an example of the types of things we can bill for, and there's a link in there with a source that says draft of the types of amounts that we could potentially recoup for each of those services. But that's still in motion. So you're right, it's going to keep changing.
Because there are challenges now with billing for special education and other services. Even though we have the right to bill, the ability to obtain all of the dollars that we can bill for, and there are laws that change around that ability to bill, So yeah, this is a major undertaking where it might look one way one year, just as Dorothy had mentioned earlier about, or excuse me, Preeti had mentioned earlier about, the state will say, you have this, and then 2 years later saying, well, you got to spend it all by now, or nope, we're going to lessen that because of the state economy. So this is a major undertaking or consideration for the school district that I hope that we continue to take the due diligence steps if the board continues to approve this grant opportunity tonight.
And to add on to that, when this was first presented to me in a superintendent's meeting, it was presented as a way for us to recoup costs for services we are already providing, similar to how we can do so with Medi-Cal billing. But this would now add to the Medi-Cal billing the ability to bill private insurers for the services that schools already provide. And so that would be my aim, is to keep it contained, so it's bringing in additional revenue for services we're already doing or already required to do, not creating new services.
So I heard what they said, and I heard what you said, right? And those aren't.
I think the new service that it does create, that this funding goes towards, is creating a position for a person who learns all of the parameters around billing. Similarly, like Milpitas Adult Ed has a certificate for doing medical billing. So that kind of position is what this is to learn how to do those billings. Certainly it could evolve into something that requires more services of the school district. And to your point, that's where I think we, as leadership and fiduciary responsibility, would step in and say, these are our boundaries as far as where we're going with becoming a medical health facility for schools, for children who are students in our schools.
I would also like to add that as they look at this, the reimbursable amounts of money, preliminary levels are coming in that, looking at what we probably would be able to get back, is maybe 25-30% of like a salary or something for somebody. So not all services are billable, and there's other work that our staff have to do that are not billable services that we could get reimbursement for. So we need to be cognizant of that moving forward, that it's not going to be a fully funded type of thing. So we need to bear that in mind as we go through it.
I just hope you heard what I asked.
I did. Very much so, as we work through this.
Trustees, any other comments, questions? Scott, do we have any public comments?
There are no public comments at this time.
Thank you. Trustee Norwood really hit a point where, as I was listening to the presentation, it didn't match up with my understanding of what the grant is, because as I understood grant, it was a startup cost to really provide school districts the opportunity to build out the infrastructure. Now, I always enjoy the positivity and the expansion, and the grant does allow for exploratory means to kind of maximize that, but I think there is some concern on the board as far as what it looks like post-grant, because it certainly is something that we need to implement to provide the services for the students. Knowing how medical billing happens, we never get fully 100% of the billing asked, and so when you look at the plan, hopefully you build that into it from a conservative perspective, from a finance, but with the opportunity to provide the maximum services that we are looking to provide. With that said, we did have a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We had a motion and a second already, so.
Oh, sorry.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. The MOU is adopted and approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Item D, Human Relations, conduct a public hearing on the Sunshine Proposal for CSEA Chapter 281, initial proposal for successor contract to Milpitas Unified School District. Do I have a motion to open?
Motion to open public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Open the public hearing for 1 minute.
So while we're waiting, how much time we got left? We're good.
Do I have a motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Public hearing is closed on that item. Item 2, conduct a public hearing on the Sunshine Proposal from Milpitas Unified School District. Initial proposal for successor contract to CSEA Chapter 281. Do I have a motion to open public hearing?
Motion to open the public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Let's open for 1 minute. Trustee Norwood, did you have a comment earlier?
Yeah, since we're waiting and it's already been a topic, Mary Jude, I heard you say that the medical billing that is possibly reimbursable is 30%, and you see that out of this item that there would be possibly an additional staff member that's specialized in the billing for us to be able to recoup what we should be able to get already?
So the concept behind it is that we are building the infrastructure, the person that we would hire is building that knowledge to set up the electronic health record, to get things in place so that we could do it. Prospectively, then once you have that fundamental infrastructure set up, the idea is that you are billing for a variety of service, psychoeducational services, counseling, various types of needs. What they're saying though is when you're looking at your billing, it's 25, 30, maybe a little
Sorry
bit
to
more.
interrupt. Moving. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none.
Oh.
Mauricio, did you have a public comment on the Sunshine Proposal?
No, actually, it was something.
Okay, hold off on that, all right? All those in favor of closing the Sunshine Proposal?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Public hearing is closed on the Sunshine Proposal. Typically, with agenda items, once we adopt it and close the item, we don't reopen it for discussion from that standpoint. I appreciate the conversation. I think we can connect with Mauricio afterwards to hear his comment from that standpoint. But from a board meeting perspective, we're going to move on to item 18, consent items. Consent items are considered routine and will be acted upon by the board in one motion. There is no discussion on these items prior to the motion unless members of the board, staff, or public request that specific items be tabled or removed for discussion or correction. Are there any items to be removed or discussed?
Yes, there is one item on there that is duplicated. I believe it is item 5 and 9, which is an agreement with, it would be B5, agreement with Milpitas Unified and Language People, and then B9, which is exactly the same. It looks like it's just listed twice.
Motion to approve the consent items with the removal of items B5 and B9.
Just one of the items. So B9.
Okay, B9.
Is there
I'll
any
second that.
No other items, right? Okay. Motion and second. Any public comments?
We have no public comment at this time.
All right. All those in favor of the consent items except for B9?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Consent items except for B9 are approved. Since it's a duplicate, do we have a motion to approve B9? No.
No,
So it's
there's
only
no-
the-
so, no.
Yeah, no. From procedural perspective, we would just ask for a motion. If there's no motion, then we let it die. So, is there a motion? Hearing none. Item is not up for discussion anymore. All right. Item D, item 19, dates of future board meeting. September 17th, special meeting, State of the District study session at 4 p.m. on hybrid Zoom, YouTube, and here at the Randall World Languages School. September 24th, tentative study session at 5 p.m., tentative closed session 6 p.m., open session 7 p.m., hybrid on Zoom, YouTube, and Randall World Languages School. And October 8th, same. Item 20, announcements and reminders. Any announcements and reminders?
One,
Go ahead, Board Clerk Naka.
we do have the Milpitas Chamber of Commerce Awards Banquet, which has been rescheduled and moved to October 4th. It's at the Bayview Club, so 5 to 9 p.m. We are still open for the tickets to be bought, so people are welcome. Just wanted to make an announcement for the community as well. Thank you, President No.
Thank you, Board Clerk Naka. Any other announcements or reminders?
Does anyone have a date on the high school's block party or their back to school? Do we know what the date is on that?
It's on the district events calendar. It's like September 26th. Do you know that, Mr. Weber?
All right, yeah, so the high school, Milpitas High, is super excited about what they're doing with back to school in terms of what their plans are to really increase the number of parents that come out and get engaged as well as the community. September 26th.
And of course, we have our ribbon cutting on the 20th?
Yep, 4:30.
Yeah, 4:30, right?
Ribbon cutting for the MUSD Innovation Campus Phase 2.
Thank you, Trustee Norwood. Thank you, Trustee Zhang. Executive Cabinet, any other announcements?
Yeah,
All right.
two. One is Calaveras Hills High School Back to School Night. They are changing the logo, so it's a big reveal to come and check it out. Also, speaking of changes, I met with the African American Success Community today, and they are changing the name to the Black Excellence Collaborative, and are planning for October 16th for a Black to School event at 5:30.
Thank you, Superintendent Jordan. With that said, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?